Hello, guys. Can you hear me okay? Guys? Alex, can you hear me okay?
Sir, my internet is kind of bad right now, so I'm barely hearing you.
Yeah, actually, mine too. I'm actually tethering from my phone because I don't know. As I'm trying to sign on, I just see my internet kind of went. So I just reset the router. So I'm just waiting for it to come on. But I'm just but in the meantime, I don't see much people here. I guess people are coming. I'm gonna try as much as possible to have a not a very long class today because we're gonna wrap up a topic and it's gonna be pretty cool, pretty exciting. So I'm gonna try not to take you too late today. So let me see if my internet is back. I don't know. Doesn't look like it's yeah. Let me see if it can handle video. So can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my poor data will probably be demolished. But anyway, the show must go on. Okay, so who do we have here? Ned, are you here? Takia, are you here? Maybe, not fully. Mohammed, are you here, Mohammed? Okay, cool. Mohammed is here. Garden, are you here? I mean, are you here? Not just here in Zoom, but here. Here in mind. No, I don't hear anything from Garden. Mia, what are we doing, Mia? Mia? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ah, welcome.
Yes, sir.
All right, so um let's go to 3D modeling. Okay. Yes. Are you hearing me again? I guess tonight is the night for internet problems. Okay, you guys seeing the screen?
Sir.
Okay, and you're seeing my screen. Right. So what I was saying is that I think I almost finished marking checkpoint 3, at least for the ones who submit. So you guys can go ahead and check your grades. Remember, you just need to scroll to the right, checkpoint 2, checkpoint 3, and you will see the criteria and everything there. Um, why does it look so weird? I need to fix this. But anyway, and you will see the grades, and there's also some comments. Oh crap, I realize the comments can't really fit. I need to make this a bit bigger. I will fix that. But I just want to say that you guys can go ahead and I think I have a few more people to mark, so yeah. But as we are going on, right? So we are now going to continue with what we were doing. Last time we started to look at what's up with the internet, man? Let me check if I okay, I think it's here. Let me see if I can disconnect my data and see if we can continue. Okay. All right. You guys can still see my screen? Oh no, it's unstable. Uh, can anyone confirm that they're still there?
Sir,
Okay, good. And you can see my screen, okay?
sir, I'm seeing the intro to 3D modeling.
All right, lovely. That means I'm back in action. All right. Okay. All right, let's continue with what we were doing. Um, okay. Right. So we were talking about oops. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Here we go. Right. So last time we were talking about the studio-based project. We talked about space and kitchen planning, and we learned how to get access different objects and put into Revit, right? Out of that, we had an activity, a class activity, where here we go, where you guys, here it is, were to use these resources, BIM Object, Revit City, Herman Miller, or Steelcase, whichever one you find useful, and you are to populate um, this apartment building that was given to you via this link, and then you submit that here. So many people here got through with that. Did you guys get through?
Yes, sir.
All right, lovely. So what I'm hoping, I mean, I know that's only one person, but that's a good direction. Anyway, so what I'm hoping is that from this exercise, you guys know how to access different resources to populate your BIM model for your studio project. Now we have a next activity that is coming up. Not quite time for it yet. And this will teach you how to use grouping so that you can build one unit and just duplicate it for the entire model, saving yourself time and resources. All right. But before we do that, we are still continuing on with the studio-based project journey. And where are we? Here we are. So the last time we spoke about, now that we know how to populate the floor plans, we now started to go into Twinmotion to see how we can take our model into Twinmotion and start to render it, right? Now this ties in with your major project because you are also now at the rendering phase for the major project. But the major project only requires you to render an exterior, right? And we already did that, and there's a video for that. Now we're looking at how do we render interiors, and we're tying that to what you're doing in Design Studio, right? So, what we want to do is to render some beautiful images of this kitchen, right? We're only going to do it as a demonstration in this class, so you can follow along if you want, but you are going to be needing to do this for your actual studio project kitchen area and then submitting that as your studio-based project. So what I want to get to today is I want to talk to you about a interior rendering workflow, right? And the question is, can you guys see the words? Okay, is it blurry for anybody? Can you see the words? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Well, at least one person can see it clearly. So now this is something that you're going to use not just to hand in your studio-based project, not only also to do your studio project, but for the rest of your architectural career. You're going to be, chances are, most of you are going to be needing to render some kind of interior image. And that interior image is going to be based on some kind of design drawing. Now, the workflow for rendering interior images is that you need to have an architectural drafting program. So we have this already. So that is Revit or ArchiCAD or Vectorworks, whatever program you're using to do your floor plan, right? I'll put this over here. Additionally, you're gonna the architectural drafting program is great for producing floor plans, right? So, for example, if you need to generate some floor plans, maybe because you need to put it on a sheet or you need to present it, then that is the primary purpose of your architectural drafting program. So, for example, if I show you this here, this is the floor plan for at least this area. I didn't detail the bathrooms or the bedrooms because we're only going to focus on this area here, which is the living, kitchen, and dining open plan area. So if I want to create a floor plan, an architectural program is perfect because it has assets like furniture and fixtures. And we spoke a bit about that last 2 weeks, different places that we can get furniture and fixtures. And for the purpose of representing it on a floor plan, it's great. Now, the chair, for example, the furniture that we use here in Revit, it is not necessarily from a interior designer's perspective, the perfect chair for this setting. Interior designing is very different than just laying out a floor plan. When you go into the realm of interior design, you start to talk about decoration, colors, all of these things. But at this stage, you're not talking about interior design. You're just talking about laying out a floor plan. And this is what your architectural program is used to do. Now, the next step is that you need a software that you can do detailed 3D modeling and one in which you can add assets. So for example, if I look at this in 3D, this is what that floor plan looks like, which is okay. I mean, from an interior designer's perspective, none of this furniture goes together. Like, this is not the appropriate couch. These chairs are not the appropriate chairs. Look at this table. It's very like blah. But it's not about that when you are laying out a floor plan. The real objective of this is that you know that a dining is for space planning. You know that a dining table can fit here. You know that you can have two couch here, a two-seater and a single-seater with a little side table, and you can have your television here. That is the main purpose of this. As it relates to interior design now, where you want it to look special, you know, you want it to look like some of these images here, then you need to go to a deeper level, right? So this is when you need now to layer on other programs that can help you to do that. So programs like 3D Max, SketchUp, Blender, these are programs that allow you to do custom modeling and where you can download assets and place in your model. And these assets that you download now are going to be more detailed. So for example, you might download this very interesting light fixture, and it matters to you what it looks like and the material and the makeup of it when you're dealing with that level of detail. However, when we're doing the floor plan, that doesn't matter. The type of fridge, the type of stove, in terms of the brand and the color, none of that is available to you in the architectural program, because the purpose of the architectural program is to do things like generate floor plans, or I can generate an interior elevation. I can go to view section. There we go. I can generate an interior elevation. And this is great for my drawings because I can place this in my drawings, I can dimension it, and that's fine. Now, if we want to do a interior rendering, we need to add another layer of detail. And usually the drafting program doesn't give us that level of detail. So we need to take our model into another program to add more detailing. And then the final level is to take our model into Twinmotion or Lumion or any one of these rendering programs, but in our case, we're going to use Twinmotion. All right. Nicole, you following me so far?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this process is the process not just for this assignment, but it is a process for life. Like if I'm working on a design for an interior design, the first thing I do is do the plans first. Then I take that plan and then I can go a level deeper and start to add detail, and then I take it into a rendering program. So here is going to be our plan of action, right? We have our floor plan here. And what we're going to do is our floor plan that we did in Revit. So all of you should have this plan here, and all of you should have it detailed. This floor plan that we did in Revit we are going to take that floor plan into Twinmotion. Let's make this a little smaller. Right. So we're going to take this floor plan here, and we are going to link that into Twinmotion. And Twinmotion will give us the ability to render the floor plan. But here's the trick. How do we get the ability to add in all of these really nice details. Well, in order to do that, we're also going to take our model into SketchUp. In this case, we're going to use SketchUp because you guys already know how to use SketchUp. So we're not going to use Studio Max. Studio Max would be my go-to program, and then maybe SketchUp as a secondary. Now we're going to take this into SketchUp. And what we're going to do in SketchUp is use some tools that SketchUp has readily available. And one of those tools is SketchUp's 3D Warehouse, right? Most of you know about 3D Warehouse already. It is a great resource that you can get all sorts of furniture in, right? All sorts of things. Not necessarily the nicest detail, but it's usually good enough. So we're going to take our model into SketchUp. And while we're in SketchUp, we're going to use the functionality of SketchUp to add all sorts of more detailed objects. Then, when we finish adding these objects, we're going to take these objects and also add them into Twinmotion. Along with the model that came from Revit. So we're going to take some items from Twinmotion, from SketchUp, and take them into Twinmotion. And that is how we will get these awesome interior renderings, along with these floor plan renderings where we have these nice furniture elements. Some of these elements can come from Twinmotion, but you don't only need to add furniture. You also might want to add special details that are not furniture. It could be some special type of cabinet work or some kind of build out. And you need the ability to do that. You need the freedom to model to do that. And that is what we're going to use SketchUp for. So this is going to be our workflow to turn this into a beautiful interior rendering. All right, Buchanan, you following me so far?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take our model and we're going to focus mainly on the kitchen area since that is what we're focusing on. Now I've already laid out my kitchen area in Revit, and this is using some very generic cabinetry. Remember, in Revit is not about trying to get the style of the cabinetry. It's just about the layout so that you can get your drawings done. So I've already done that here, and I've just, laid out a few other things here. And yeah, and this is what we have. So what I'm going to do is I need to take this model into SketchUp. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to File. While I'm in 3D view, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export, and I'm going to export a IFC file. And I'm going to save that in this folder. Then I'm going to open SketchUp. Here. There we go. And I'm going to open that IFC file. Demonstration. I thought I saved it out here. Let me pin that. Oh, my bad. I need to go to import, not open, because open would mean I'm opening a SketchUp file. So import. Come on. It's coming soon. Come on, SketchUp. Yeah, there we go. So let's see to here, and here we go. Furniture with that. I'm going to import that. Okay. All right, lovely. So now we have our rivet drawing inside of SketchUp. Pretty cool, guys, right? So now, before we get all crazy with adding all sorts of fancy details, but I'm going to go to view and I'm going to go to, where do you go? You go to camera and go to field of view, right? I'm going to make this a little bit so that I can get some more space. Yes. So before we start adding any fancy details, um, McLaren, are you here?
Yes, sir.
What kind of quote unquote fancy details are we going to add? Like what kind of, I mean, obviously this is a very basic, materials and stuff that's coming straight out of Revit. So then what kind of fancy tables, fancy lighting fixtures, how do we know what we want to add in this to make it really nice?
Sir, going to be adding some moldings and some other lighting elements that
Right.
you'll be able to utilize this.
So we are missing one more key ingredient, and that is our design board. Some people call it mood board, meaning we need to have some kind of guiding light as to what we're trying to achieve. Like we know that we want it to be nicer, but what does nicer mean? Like what type of moldings, you know? So I don't know if you've ever heard of a mood board, or some people call it a design board. So here I've picked out some things that interests me and my design. So first thing is a color scheme. Next, I'm thinking, oh, these types of floor tiles look interesting. And then the color scheme for the upper cabinets could be maybe this kind of darker walnut, and then the ones below can be lighter, and then the countertop can be this like white marble. So these are all photos that I've got from Pinterest and all over the internet. And what they have are things that I want to include in my kitchen to make it nice. Now, these are decor things. These are not things necessarily that help you plan out the space because you have already planned out the space using the architectural program. So after you finish planning out the space, this mood board goes into more detail. So for example, the backsplash tiles, I'm thinking, oh, I like these backsplash tiles. I'm thinking, oh, this is a cool idea where you can have a shelf below the cabinetry to have like additional things there. What about the ceiling? Oh, this nice long kind of recessed light because the kitchen is a kind of U-shaped kitchen, kind of narrow. So maybe it could have a nice recess kind of cavity in the ceiling, right? And these are all ideas that I want to use to make my interior rendering very nice. Now, some of these elements, if you look on our workflow, some of these elements would come from SketchUp, and some of them might even come from Twinmotion itself. Now, I want you to notice that I didn't say, let's take the model into SketchUp and then take the SketchUp model into Twinmotion. I didn't say that. Notice that the workflow is, I want to take the Revit model into Twinmotion, but I also want to take the same Revit model into SketchUp so that I can add elements from SketchUp into the Twinmotion file. Now, can anybody tell me why I have chosen to do? Can anybody tell me why I've chosen to do this
Is Revit not compatible with Twinmotion?
Hold on. Versus doing this. So I have chosen to do this option up here. Yeah, what were you saying?
I was asking if Revit is compatible with Twinmotion.
Yes, Revit is compatible with Twinmotion. Because we are taking the Revit model and putting it directly in Twinmotion. But then we're taking objects from SketchUp and we're also putting it in Twinmotion. But why are we doing it this way? Why are we not putting the Revit model in SketchUp, then take the SketchUp model and put it into Twinmotion? Can anybody tell me?
So
Why?
is it to save time and resources? Because I think if you put it in SketchUp and then you load a lot of resources in it, it will slow down the model.
It's not the reason, but it also solves that problem. But that's not the primary reason.
So is it because if you do the second method, like you convert it to SketchUp and then to Twinmotion, I think some of the contents in Revit might be lost.
That's a good analogy, but with IFC, I mean, if we look here, I think this is pretty good. Like it really captured pretty much everything from Revit. So I wouldn't be worried about that, but that's a good answer. Who else want to give it a try?
Sir, is it because Revit already comes with the built-in option to utilize Twinmotion directly from there?
That's a good answer as well, but that's not the main reason, right? So because we have limit, I'm trying to not make this class last very long. I'm going to tell you guys the answer, all right? So the reason why you want to do this workflow is that usually your design is a work in progress, and what happened? Your model might change. So, for example, if I'm in Revit and I don't know, you're in Design Studio, and maybe you go through another Descript and your lecturer say, guess what? I don't think you can put your dining area here because the space is too small. So then you might have to decide, maybe put your dining area up here, or maybe you move a wall or something, and that will now change your design. Now, if you carry your model into SketchUp, there is no way for SketchUp to update the model. You're just going to have to delete all the work that you did and import it again. Now, Twinmotion, on the other hand, has an ability to update your model, but the problem is SketchUp doesn't. So if you go through SketchUp, SketchUp is going to break that link between. So if you get a new model, you can't just go in SketchUp and say, okay, update my model, but keep all the changes that I did in SketchUp. SketchUp is not able to do that. So this is why we take the model from Revit and put it directly in Twinmotion, because when the model is in Twinmotion, we can say, okay, Twinmotion, update the model, but keep all the changes that I did. All of the material changes, everything, it will keep it and update the model. Additionally, we're only taking the objects that we added to the model from SketchUp and putting it in Twinmotion. So we're not going to carry the model into Twinmotion twice. Even though we have the model in the SketchUp file, we're only going to take the objects that we added to SketchUp and then put that into Twinmotion. You guys understand me? Guys? Oh, hold on. Is my
Yes, sir, I understand what you're
headset?
saying.
Hold on. This thing keeps turning off when I'm not when it's not in use to save battery. But I'm not hearing it. No, why am I not hearing it? Okay, good. Yes, I'm hearing it now. So right. So you guys,
Yeah.
you guys understand this process?
Yes, sir.
All right. So in essence, what I should have, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you say you had to carry the model into SketchUp, but wouldn't it make sense to just carry the objects you want into Twinmotion instead of having to go into SketchUp, design it, and then like wouldn't it be better to just get the objects from 3D Warehouse and bring it in
Into where?
into Twinmotion, like you said?
But that's what we're doing. So
No, but you're saying you had to carry the model floor plan into SketchUp.
yes, we do, because how do we know where to position these objects we're carrying from warehouse? So we're only carrying the model into SketchUp as a reference. That's it.
Okay.
Right. So in essence, what I could have here is a double arrow, meaning that we can update between Revit and Twinmotion, but from SketchUp to Twinmotion is a one-way street. We're just putting things into Twinmotion from SketchUp. All right. Now, when you're designing, this two-way street is super important. This is the reason why all these software, Lumion and Twinmotion and D5, they all have the ability to update. However, between Revit and SketchUp, it doesn't have this ability. Or else we would just go through SketchUp and then go to Twinmotion. But we don't have that ability there. The reason why, as I guess said, the reason why we using Sketch, and this is the, this is the this is the trifecta of your interior design or photorealistic rendering. You need a program to do modeling. You need the freedom to create what you want. But at the same time, you need a program that has architectural rules and regulations. You can generate plans, sections, interior elevations, which you cannot readily do from Twinmotion nor SketchUp. It would be much more difficult, especially if you're working on a large project, for you to build everything in SketchUp. Though some people do use SketchUp for modeling. But anyway, for architectural drawings, well, this is the workflow we're going to use. All right, so with that said, we also need to take this model into Twinmotion. But before we're going to Twinmotion, we have already made the stop into SketchUp. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our mood board, and I'm going to just dock it here. Here we are. Where is it? Here we go. So these are some of the ideas that we wanted to use. And we're going to put our SketchUp model here. And I'm just going to hide this. Let me turn this off. So there are some things that we can only do in SketchUp, and we can't do it in Twinmotion. And it would be way too difficult to do it in Revit. So for example, this idea here of putting this lower cabinet, this lower shelf below here, and as I say, oh, this idea is interesting. Let me investigate it. Now, of course, if you are a Revit guru, then of course you can model anything in Revit. There are some people who do that, but SketchUp, it's so easy. And I would encourage you guys to use SketchUp because you just don't have so much rules and regulations to prevent you from doing that. So I'm going to turn on the large tool set here. So let's get all my tools. And I'm going to try this out. So I'm going to say, how about if I made this shelf like 10 inches? Is that too low? Yes, that's too low. Let's try 4 inches. Maybe, 4 inches can't hold nothing much, but that's okay. This is only a demonstration, so I don't want to get too crazy with it. And I'm saying, oh, that looks pretty cool. So what I can do is let me draw a box here. And then I'm going to pull this all the way over here. And, a part of this is that you're also exploring ideas. So you can explore this and decide if this is something you want to do or not. It's so easy to push and pull. Let me go 4 inches. Oops. Right. Let me go 4 inches down. Great. And then I'm going to just use the offset tool. And I'm going to offset this and I'm going to say, how about 1 inch? And of course, I can use a push-pull tool to push this inside. And I don't want to see the back of the cabinet. So I'm going to push it down maybe, well, I'm in meters now. I do better with estimating in inches. So I'm going to go to my preferences. Not preferences. I'm going to go to my model info units. And I'm going to change this to decimal feet. I know that's a bit weird, but that's me. I like decimal feet. Right. So I can say that maybe this is, or some people like decimal inches. I don't know. So 0.5. I keep forgetting to change my thing. Right. So yeah, maybe 0.5. Right. So that's about 6 inches right there. And I look at this and I say, that's interesting. I should try this over here. So what I can do is just select all of this and make it a group. And then I can just, how about we use a mirror tool? Right. So I'm going to use a mirror tool. I don't know if you guys ever used this tool before. I'll put this here and then make a copy. And then, so guys, so you see the ease at which you can just model and do stuff in SketchUp on top of your Revit model. It makes it, so easy. Hold on. I need to make this a unique because I don't want to adjust this and the next one adjusts. So here we go. Now, for you, as I was saying, when you look on the workflow, I have it here. So push this over. Right. I was showing you guys that there are different programs you can use to do your detail modeling and adding assets. I'm using SketchUp. I also use Max. But as I said, there are others that you can use to do this kind of stuff, whatever you feel comfortable with. I feel comfortable with SketchUp and Max, so this is why I chose this program to do that. Now, there are some things that I don't have to worry about. So, for example, these walls are all coming from Revit. I think I might have some trouble adding colors because based on how I drew the wall from Revit, when I add a color to this wall, this will have a different color here. I don't know if you can see that, Mohammed. So I may have some trouble with the color. I can choose to resolve that in Revit, or I can choose to resolve it here, but let me not worry about that too much. The next thing I want to do here is that I really like this backsplash. Now, I don't have a backsplash because, this is just a model from Revit, so I just have the bare walls. So I can now model in my backsplash fairly easily. I just get my pencil tool and there we go. And I'll just mark this out like that. I have a nice little backsplash there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to group this. Always a good idea to group your stuff. And I'm going to push pull it. I'm going to, maybe I make it 0.5 of an inch. Yeah. So this is my backsplash there. I'm going to do the same thing here. So as I was saying, guys, you see these little details that you're adding, like you can't really add these details in Twinmotion because you don't have modeling tools. And I don't know, what do you think, Javin? How easy would it be to add backsplash and all these things um in Revit? Are you here, Javin? Javin? Alex, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how easy do you think it would be to add these backsplashes and things? Is it easy for you, I should ask?
Yeah, but if yeah, you have to be use an unorthodox method, I guess.
Right. You know, you
Yeah.
you have all of these rules to navigate. So you need a program that, you just model. Because there's so remember, at the end of the day, you're trying to get your idea out. It's not like there is a police that says you only can get your idea out using, you know, Revit or something. You know what I mean? So whatever you can use to achieve previewing your idea. And besides, this is a known workflow. Most people who do architectural renderings and these things, they have a program that they use to model that's different from the program that they use to do their to produce their architectural drawings. Right? So all right. So I've created these areas here for the backsplash, which is pretty cool. All right, so I've gotten in some of my ideas already. Oh, let me save this file. Don't forget to save, guys. SketchUp will auto-save every 5 minutes to a special backup folder on your computer. But of course, we don't want to depend on that. So I'm going to save this here as details to floor plan site. All right. What else do we want to do? Oh, so when I did this in Revit didn't give me a backsplash. It didn't give me this backsplash for this wall here, which I don't know if I mind. Actually, I think this is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna leave that. But I could have just modeled that in here to fill that in if I wanted to. All right, the next thing I want to get in is the ceiling, right? So I think I could get it in here. So what I'll do, I'll just take the opportunity to add a ceiling here because I didn't add a ceiling in Revit. So I'm just going to use the pencil tool. And now the good thing about this is that the model inside of that I've imported as a IFC, it brought it into SketchUp as a single object. So if I move this around, you can see the model is like one object, which is good because I can just hide it or whatever. All right, so I've made this into a group. And let's say I don't think my ceiling would be this high, so because it might have some services or whatever. So I'm gonna make it. So let's say this is the height of my ceiling on the inside. And for my kitchen area, I want to build it out. So I'm gonna explore this now. Now, all I have here is an idea, but I have to know this is where the designer in your brain comes in. You have to kind of figure out how does that idea work here. Now remember, this is just ideation, so you don't have to like break your idea brain. You can just kind of explore. So I'm going to draw a box here, I think. I'm going to turn it into a group. I always group your stuff in SketchUp, guys. I'm going to come down about a foot because I'm going to say, maybe this is how I want to build out the kitchen. I want to build it down about a foot, and maybe that's all I'll do. And then here, of course, I'm going to draw or maybe I can do an offset. Let's see. Do an offset like this. And then I will, and this is the thing also, you're still kind of designing when you're doing this. Like I don't have to put in that this is a ceiling or this is some special element. I can just freely work on this design. Let me carry this over a foot. Carry this over a foot. Ah, no, that's too skinny. All right, let's carry this over by 6 inches. Carry this over by 6 inches. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, maybe my entire room has a drop ceiling. I don't know. Let's I don't know. Let's investigate. Like maybe I can just say push pull this here. Come on, push pull. Come on. Come on. Let's carry it some more. Like that. Okay, let's see what we have going on in here. I don't know. I don't know if I would build out this space, but I'm just kind of making this up as I go along, guys. I didn't really plan this. I'm just going off of, what do you call it? Design vibe. So, you know, let's just say all of this as a drop ceiling, or maybe the drop ceiling just comes here. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how this works out. By the way, guys, because this is freestyle, I mean, if you have an idea, just tell me and I will just add it into this thing that I'm doing, whatever I'm doing. All right. All right, Daniel. Are you here, Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if you think something would look really cool, just let me know. And I will just, because we're just kind of freestyle designing here. So yeah, so let's say that this is I put this drop ceiling all around. Come on. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? Here I am. Probably I want to just take my field of view a little further so that I can have more space to work in. All right. But the main idea is that I'm focusing on the kitchen area. And the idea is that I want to have this slit here for the lighting. And I think it's centered. So yeah. And that's coming from this idea here. All right. What other ideas do I have? The floor, that's a material. This is color. The countertop, that's a material. All right. Now that I'm here, I don't know. I think I want to build out this area between the top of the cupboard and the roof. What do you think, guys? This area here. Any ideas? Guys? Nicole?
Sir, what I said I want to do with it?
This area between the top of the cabinet and the drop ceiling? Yeah. What do you think we should do with it? Any ideas? Well, remember, whenever you come to an opportunity like this to do something, always, look for some reference images because it can show you how other people has treated that. And a good place to find that is like Pinterest or, wherever you go to get your design ideas. All right. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave it for now, but I could have added things like moldings. Maybe I want a specific type of molding. Of course, I could add the molding on the floor boards. I could have added that from Revit. It's totally up to you. When you're using this workflow, you can decide what you want to do in Revit and what you want to do in SketchUp. Now, the main reason we came to SketchUp, we want to get to that now, and that is, of course, to add assets from the warehouse, right? Because we might need that as decorations. Now, the thing is, there are some decors that we don't know if we will need yet. Like, for example, I would definitely change this console. It comes from Revit. I would want something nicer. I would definitely change the couch, but I'm not focusing on these areas. I'm kind of focusing just on the kitchen area. So the dining table, yes, definitely. I'm not a big fan of this dining table. So I would definitely go to the warehouse to find some interesting stuff. And there are so much cool things like shelves and just a bunch of cool things you can find. So let me look for dining. One sec. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. All right, so dining. So there's some, I mean, I'm just going to pick one here, but like you could totally go to town with all of the options that is available to you in warehouse. And some of them are okay. This one looks, I don't know. What do you think of this one, Daniel?
It's okay, I guess.
All right. Now, the thing is, with this workflow, the great thing about this workflow that we have here is that we can choose to do, we can take assets from SketchUp and we can take assets from Twinmotion and also assets from Revit. So you get to choose where you want to get your assets from. So we could have done a dining table in Twinmotion, but most definitely you won't have the plethora of choices that you see here in 3D Warehouse. There's just a bunch of stuff, and because SketchUp is like architecture related, you find like a lot of stuff relating to interior design and that kind of stuff. You will definitely find that in Warehouse, whereas Twinmotion is primarily just to populate areas. So you might not find so much of a variety. You might find 5 different dining tables and that's it. But I mean, you have pages upon pages upon pages of just options for dining when you use this. So this is why I definitely recommend that you get some of your assets from SketchUp. All right, so we're just gonna pick one. So yeah, let's just grab this one. So I'm gonna hit download. And of course it's gonna download here. And I can just drag that directly into SketchUp. And where is it? I don't know. Let's try again. There we go. All right. Now, I definitely don't want the tables and because I know I can get nicer stuff in Twinmotion for these decorations. And if you look at them, you can see they're kind of geometric. They're not like very nice. Because remember, we're doing an interior rendering, but I like the design of this, so I'm going to use that. So I'm going to put that inside. Let's put it on the ground. Now, as for this, I can just delete this. I can just go into this group by double clicking, double click, double click, double click. Okay, good. And I can just delete this. I can turn it off as well, but I don't really care because I just carried this space in as a reference. I'm not going to be carrying this space from here into Twinmotion. All right. Let me rotate this. Q is to rotate. Yep. All right. And already this space is looking so much better because we're picking things that goes along with the decor. No, we could go for things like portraits, but I think I'm gonna get portraits from Twinmotion. Because I know Twinmotion has portraits. We could do something interesting with this. Like I feel like this corner here, we could do something like, I don't know, like do a build out, like a custom build out. So I'm gonna draw a box. Let me start it from here. I'm gonna draw a rectangle here, like that. I'm gonna group it. All right. So I think as I say, guys, I'm kind of making this up on the fly. All right, I'm gonna make this line up with that. And let me get my dimension tool here. Okay, so this is 0.5. So I want to make this 6 inches. So this is going to be, oh, hold on. I need to put the dimension in the group. There we go. There we go. All right, so I think I want to make this, yes, 0.5 feet, which is 6 inches. There we go. And now I'm gonna push this up. And come on. All right, I'm gonna put it there. Then I'm gonna push this down, and I'll push this down to form 6 inches. Then I'm gonna move this up to there. I'm gonna push this over. I think that this should reach the top of the ceiling. So let's carry this up. There we go. Then I'm gonna push this in 6 inches. Then I'm gonna push this down. So it's like we're building out this little, I don't know, interesting thing here. And maybe I should push all of this over. So you see, like you can really, if you have a program that you normally use, you can really use it to like explore like ideas. And then maybe in here has some kind of interesting, I don't know, some kind of interesting, I don't know, you put some decoration there or something, I don't know. Push this over here like that. I don't know. What do you think, Samantha? Are you there, Samantha?
Sorry, I was distracted for a minute.
Okay, right. So what do you think of this idea that we put in here?
Third pardon?
What do you think of this idea of this element that we put here in the dining area?
So I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what's going on.
All right, no problem. All right, so what we're gonna do is the last thing I think I'm gonna do is just fill out the tops of these because I think the top of these cabinets, they just look like something is missing. So I'm just gonna fill it out and then we're gonna head over into Twinmotion. And continue with what we're doing. All right. So I'm gonna just draw a box here, group that, and pull it, push all the way up. So I think this looks nicer when you fill out the tops of the cabinets. What do you think? What do you think, guys?
Yep.
Definitely looks nicer. So you see, this level of detail, you don't really go into while you're doing space planning because you're kind of busy, planning the space. So, but when you're going to do the interior rendering, if you don't plan out the space like this, the rendering, it don't matter whatever beautiful rendering program you use, you're always going to it's not going to look as good because the design doesn't look good. So you have to make your design look good for your rendering to look good. All right. And this is why we went into SketchUp, because we can add in these little details, and we're not just making it up out of thin air, because we have our mood board that we're using as a guide to implement these ideas. All right, so we're done with this now. So we're going to save this. And now what we want to do is we need to take this out of SketchUp and also put this into Twinmotion. So what we're going to do is, well, the simplest thing we can do is we can just delete the Revit model, actually, and just leave all of the things that we have added in, right? Oh, this is doubled. Oops. And we don't need this lady here, right? So what I'm going to do, okay, let me undo that. Let me delete this and delete the lady. All right, so I'm going to save this. Then I'm going to delete the Revit model, leaving only the things that we added. And I'm going to go to File, and I will go to Save, and I will save this. You know what? Hold on. I don't want to delete the Revit model, just in case I need to come back to SketchUp. So what I'm going to do with this is I am going to go to Tags, and I'm going to create a new tag and call it Revit model. Now, tags is kind of like layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to go to Entity Info and put this on the Revit model tag. So that way I can just turn this off, and voila, I'm just left with this alone. I'm going to save that. All right, now it's time for Twinmotion. So if I look on the workflow that we did, I carried my model into SketchUp, and I added in some beautiful objects from SketchUp Warehouse. I also did some custom modeling in SketchUp. And now I'm ready to take those models that I did and add it to Twinmotion. Now, so here we have Twinmotion. Now, in order to take stuff from SketchUp into Twinmotion, we need to have the Datasmith exporter. Now, in Revit 2024, we already have it built into Revit. So if we go to View, let's go to 3D View, and we'll go to View here. Then you see Twinmotion is here, and I can go to Export Datasmith file. So I don't need to download a plugin for Revit, at least Revit 2024 and up, because it's built into Revit. So I'm going to export this. And now I have exported this original model. Now I need to do the same thing with SketchUp. However, I don't think I had installed the plugin, so that's good because now you learn how to do it. Now, when you go in Twinmotion, you go down to when you open the software, you can go to the plugin section, and SketchUp, you click that, and it will take you to the website to download the Datasmith exporter for SketchUp. And you can choose download for Windows, and that's it. You just click that. You do have to close SketchUp though, obviously. So I'll close that. This is what the installation looks like. So you go next, next, and it's asking you, do I want to install this for 2023 and 2024? I say, okay, good, let's install. And all right, that's it. So now we just need to open back SketchUp. Oh man. I thought we'd be done already, but we're like halfway there. All right. Ryan, how you doing?
I good, sir.
All right, you following so far? Any questions?
Okay.
All right, so when we install the plugin, notice we have this little plugin here, and I can just say export, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to just go to demonstration, and this is where I'm going to install. So I'm going to details. So I'm going to say details from SketchUp. And that's it. So now I have exported these details from SketchUp. Lovely. All right. So now I can go into Twinmotion and now I'm ready. This is where the magic will happen. If we look back at our workflow, this is where we'll now import these details and we're going to import the model. All right. So firstly, I don't need these things here. So I'm going to delete that. But I do want to keep the ground. I maybe don't want it to be tile, but I'll keep that and I'll keep the hills in the background. All right, so I'm going to go down here to import. Now, we already kind of did a Twinmotion tutorial, so I'm not going to go through everything. So I'm going to go to import geometry. And here we go. Let me import the model from Revit first. Now it's going to say I want to keep hierarchy, so that means I'll be able to click on each object and it won't compress it down to one object. And yeah, I'm going to leave everything default and just choose import. All right, lovely. So there is our model there. Beautiful.
Sir.
Yeah, question?
Yeah, what you did a while ago was turn off the Revit tag and then save everything else as is.
In what I did in Revit or
No,
in SketchUp? Yes.
Yeah, in SketchUp. You turn
Yes,
off the
I
Revit
put
tag
the
and then save that as
right,
as
right,
itself.
right. So I still have the Revit model here and tagged as Revit model, but I turned it off and then exported the datasmith file. All right, so now I'm ready to add the details from SketchUp. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say details from SketchUp. Now what I'm not sure of is it should hopefully not import the model twice because I put it on a tag and turn it off. Let's see what it will do. Did it import it? Said it did. Yeah. Well, but it only imported one object. Oh, hold on a minute. Okay. Yes. I think, let me go back to SketchUp. Go back to export. Is this exporting only what I select? I don't think so. It should export everything. Let's try this again. So details from SketchUp. Okay, export that. All right, good. And let me refresh this. Ah, there we go. We're cooking with gas. However, did it install? Did it do the building twice? No, it didn't. Thank goodness. Okay, so it only imported the elements that I added, which are like these and this. There is an error here because these elements seem to be flipped. So let me go back to SketchUp. I think it's flipped because I mirrored it. And when you mirror it, I don't know, it does something weird to the polygons. So I'm going to select all of the polygons here. And I'm going to right click and say reverse edges. I don't know if this will work. Let me save. And let me export again and replace the file that's. Wait a minute. What? Yeah, I'm replace the datasmith file. Right. So now I'm going to reload this. There we go. So now it's fine. Looks a little weird. Yeah. I think it's weird because I flipped it in SketchUp. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete that, or rather, I'm just going to copy this. Must be some issue when you flip it. I don't know. And I'm going to rotate this. I'm going to rotate it from here. Yeah. There we go. And let me just move this in place. I'm going to move it here. And let's move this here. There you go. All right. So now, I guess I can hide this. Right. I can delete that. Did I delete the right one? Yes, I did. All right. Great. Save, export, update the datasmith file. And it's fine now. Okay. I think it's fine now. Yes. All right. So, oh crap. There's one last thing. These things here are linked. Come on, SketchUp. I forgot to unlink them. So because they're so I need to make this unique. And then I need to move this back. Yes, the joys of modeling. Okay, save and update this. There we go. And back here, reload. Yeah, there we go, fixed. All right, so now this has all the elements that we added in. Now we can start adding materials. Based on our example here, based on our mood board, which is here. There we go. So I'm going to put this over here and I'll have this here. Make this a little smaller. Hopefully you guys can, let me try to make this as big as I can. Properties. Let's turn off scene for now. All right. So the next thing we need to do is we can start to think about materials and then rendering and all of these things. So firstly, these materials are coming from Revit and they are not so nice. Of course, we still have the Revit furniture here. So what we're going to do is that we could just delete it if we wanted to, or we could just turn them off. So what I'm going to do is select the Revit stuff and select this last one here. It doesn't want to select for some reason. You're being stubborn. Okay, I'll get you. No, it's this one. Yeah. Now, over here is our scene explorer or scene graph. That's what they call it. And it has a listing of all the objects in our entire scene. So these are the objects that I selected from Revit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say cut because I want to cut this. Then I'm going to close this up. I'm going to create a new container and call it hidden objects. And then I'm going to paste them there and turn them off. So anything that I don't want, I'm just going to paste it in this and it will get hidden. All right. Now, one of the first things that you guys will love this, is that Twinmotion has much nicer doors, right, than these Revit doors. Now, of course, I could go into SketchUp and add doors from SketchUp. If you could add your doors from SketchUp using the SketchUp warehouse, if you the 3D warehouse, or you could go to objects and so we have some doors here. Now these doors also are rotated doors. They are, I guess you could call them smart doors. So I'm gonna pick one. Yeah, let me pick this door. And it's pretty cool. So when you go close to the door, it opens, and when you move away, it closes. Right? Of course, you can disable this feature if you want. But yeah. Now, what I would do is I would just rotate this like that. Then I would just same thing I would do as before, where I think it's this door here. I would just cut this and I would paste it in this hidden object group and I would turn it off. And then I would replace it with this nice door from Twinmotion. There you go. If I look in properties, I can adjust the width of the door. I can adjust the height. Let me carry it forward a little bit. Let me close this so you can see. Are you guys seeing the screen okay? Because it's a little small.
Yes, sir. See it fine.
All right. I can also choose whether I want to open the door inward or outward. And I can just say, I think it's under behavior details. I can choose the trigger radius. So I can make the radius very small. So I have to be like right so the door doesn't open. So yeah. Let's make it a little taller. Right, so Twinmotion doors, much nicer. Now, all I need to do is I can use the pipette tool, pipette the material. Can I do that? Yes. And then I can add these materials. Let me make it to one object only. And I can add this material to the window frame. And I have a nice window there. Now, speaking of windows, what I would want to do for windows is to go to the library and go to materials. Oh, before I go any further, let me save because Twinmotion doesn't have autosave by default. You have to enable it. So if the file crashes, you have lost everything that you have done, which really, really, really sucks. So, I'm going to call this interior rendering demonstration 2. If you guys want to turn on autosave in Twinmotion, what you can do is go to you go to edit preferences, and then you go to one of these guys here. Save. Turn on autosave every 15 minutes. Number of files 3. This is where it will autosave. Okay. All right, let's deal with the windows. So we'll go to glass and we can change this to maybe clear glass. And I'm going to change this to when this is like this, that means that every glass in the entire scene will be changed. So I'm going to just change this. And there we go. So all the glass is that. Now I can go ahead and change the frames to all the frames to this material if you wanted to. I would need to go into my material here, and here is the material I use for here. So I can also drag it there and see all of them change. I don't have to replace this door. So I will just change the material to that. And I'll just change this material, maybe that material. Actually, I might want to replace this door because this door is not so nice. So I will do the same thing. But hold on. Let me not get carried away. We're focusing on the kitchen, so let me go back to the kitchen. All right. So we want to change if we look on our sample here, we said we wanted this to be like a light walnut and this to be like a maybe a nice marble top. So let's look for marble, which under materials, marble, maybe it's not that busy. So we want to look for something that is Not that busy like this one? All right, good. Now, the next thing we want to do, it's kind of repeating a lot. So we can use the pipette tool to grab this material. And we can go down to scale and we can make the scale bigger. Right? So now it looks much more nicer. All right. Now, as we build this out, if you are using a DirectX 12 graphics card or AKA a RTX graphics card, you can go into scene, double click ambience, turn on properties, and make sure you click on ambience. Let me carry this over where you can see it better. And on the renderer, choose Lumen, and you will get a more realistic preview with Lumen, with a Lumen renderer. All right. But this will only work if you have like a decent graphics card. All right. The next thing we can, well, let's worry about the lighting after. Let's finish with our what's this here? Oh, this is the wall and this is the tile. All right, so let's finish with the windows. So let me go to materials and let me add material to this window here. Okay, now let's talk about the backsplash. We were saying we wanted to use this kind of backsplash. So let's go over to materials. And let's look for tiles. Tiles. And I think this one looks similar. So let's drag that out and see. So, okay. So this is what we want to do. We want to change this to individual so that it will just apply to this one here. All right. So it's there, but it's very small. So what we need to do is we need to pipette this material and make the size much larger than this too. So the scale won't go more than 10, but you can type in. So let's type in 30. Let's type in 50. All right, the problem that we have here, hold on, 50. The problem that we have here is that these tiles are much more like they're squashed. So we can go into details and scale it down on one axis. We also need to change the color. So the color is a bit lighter, I think. Like it's more gray. I don't know. I don't know if that one matches. Let's see if we find another one. That might be the closest one we can find in tiles because I don't see any more. Yeah, I think that's the closest we'll get. I do think it needs to be stretched more though, so let's grab this material again and all right. Let's make the let's go into color and carry the saturation down. I don't know, like it's not as gray as I want it to be. As a matter of fact, you see the problem with this, guys, is that the colors are bleeding from the other materials onto this material. So that's the color of the material there, and it should be this color. Not really getting me there. The other thing is the lighting might be affecting what we're doing. So let's come back to this after. So let's add this to here and add it to here and add it to here. All right, so this is the tile that we wanted to have, and it's now there. What else do we want now? We want to change the cabinet. So we're going to go back to materials. What time is it? Okay, we have like 15 minutes. So I'm not going to do it everywhere, but let's go to wood and let's find that wood color. We can always tweak the wood color. So, okay, let's see. This is what I wanted. So, yeah, I think that's pretty close, but it's a bit small. So we're going to do the same thing. Well, before we change this, let's match the bottom one now, which is a lighter wood. Actually, what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate this material. Let's fix it first. So let's pipette this material here, and we're going to make the size bigger. There we go. Then we're going to duplicate that material. So we have two, and we can rename this other one and say lower cabinet. And we're going to apply it to the lower cabinet now. And we're going to, let's double click this. Let's grab this material. We're going to make it lighter. So, all right. What do you think, Buchanan? Does that color match? We're matching it to this color.
No.
I think it needs more yellow. I don't know. Maybe a little. I don't know. Lighter, maybe. Okay. If you're ever having trouble matching color, I mean, you could. Okay. All right. No, let's just eyeball it for now because we don't have much time. I don't know. It is lighter, but it's, we could mess around with this for a while. But yeah. So we're going to apply this here, apply it here, and apply it here and here. All right, good. Then we're going to apply this other one here. Let's also apply it to this thing that we created here. Apply it here, apply it here, and here, and here. Now, as for this should be stainless steel. So let's go back to materials and go to, well, let's save because we don't want to lose any work. 3. All right, let's go to metal, brush aluminum. Yeah. This is silver, galvanized. I don't know. Let's see. Well, let me see what else we have. We have aluminum swirls. We have brush metal. Let me try brush metal. Oh, we have to download it. So we have to sign in and download brush metal. There we go. All right. That's brush metal. Let's change the material of the stove. We could have replaced the stove model from if we really wanted to, but let's make it brush metal and let's make the top be some kind of like carbon, maybe. There we go. And let's make these burners gold. Why not? Because it looks cool. All right. Now, this modeling thing is coming from Revit here. So, we'll have to fix that in Revit. I don't think we have the time, so Let's look down here. Let's grab that brush metal that we used. Let's use it there. We have it on that as well. Can we change the handles to be gold? I think that would be nicer. Let's just, I think if I do this, it will change all of them at once. Yes, it did. I don't know if the gold goes with it. Maybe it's a little weird, but now as for the fridge, we could replace the fridge with a model. So we could look here, material, objects, home, kitchen, appliance, fridge. I don't know. This fridge actually looks pretty good. So I think we can keep the fridge from Revit because I think it looks pretty good. So let's just add the galvanized material to the fridge. No, maybe the brush metal. All right. Now for the rest of the cabinetry. So will that do the trick? Yes, I think so. All right. Now let's work on the walls. We haven't given the walls any color. We did have a color scheme here. All right. Now, if you want this to get this color scheme, a good method that you can use is you can actually grab. Anybody know of Windows Power Toys? Anybody? Anybody know of a program named Power Toys? Nicole, you heard of Power Toys?
So,
What's that? No?
no.
You can also, okay. So Power Toys is pretty cool. It has some little apps that you can use. If you don't have Power Toys, there is also the good old Illustrator or Photoshop, right? So what I can do is I can open a new page in Illustrator. And it's a little smaller. Right. And what I can do, I can grab this image. Can I paste it here? No, because I probably have to, yeah. Instead, I'm gonna just take a good old screenshot. I'll paste it in Illustrator. Illustrator is giving me some weird artifacts. I don't know why. And then what I can do is I can use the pipette tool in Illustrator and grab this. And if I double click this, it will give me the hex code for this color. And I can copy this hex code. And you guessed it, I can go into Twinmotion. So let's say that I want to give this color a wall color. So I'm going to go to Materials. And I'm going to go, this time I'm going to go to Wall Covering. And I'm going to just pick one. Doesn't matter which one, like this one. I'm going to drag this to the wall. Actually, wait. I'm going to change this to individual object. I'll drag it to this wall. Then what I'm going to do is, let's make this bigger. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the material. Is this right? This is the material. And I'll go to color. And here I can just paste that hex code from Illustrator. And it would make it the exact shade that I want. All right. Now, as for the rest of the walls, we're just going to choose a color. We're just going to eyeball it because we're pretty much out of time. So we're going to go to here and we're going to just pick another color. Maybe this one, maybe. And we'll just color these walls this color. There we go. So it's pretty boring because everything is white. All right, now we're also going to color up here the color of, I think, this oak color would be nice. There you go. And let's make this color here as well. Actually, no, that looks horrible. All right. And we're going to do the same thing up here. As for the ceiling, we'll make that the same white. All right. So we are pretty much done with the, this chair that we took from SketchUp. Well, the problem is it's looking a little weird. Okay. We can fix this, I think. If I get this material, we can switch it to two-sided. There we go. There we go. And let's do the same thing for this material, two-sided. Yeah. I want to change this material, so I'm gonna go over to library, and this time I'm going to go to fabric. No, not leather. Fabric. And I will pick one of these, maybe this blue. It's kind of small. So we're gonna make it can we make it bigger? I don't think so. UV scale. Yes, there we go. So now we can see the texture. That's pretty cool. And lastly, let's change this wood color here. So we're gonna go back to wood and let's get a nice wood color on this table. Let's also make it bigger, a little bit smaller. Yeah. And I think I would rotate it like that. Yeah. All right. So we're kind of getting there. As for the floor, okay. Let's just pick a tile for now. Oh, we did choose a tile, but we are totally out of time. So I am going to just work with these guys. Which looks absolutely horrible. So these guys. Let's make it a little bigger. All right, we're getting there. Okay, guys. Davidson, are you still with us? Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Oh, hold on. You see, what happens is that when we talk, when you guys talk less, my headphone turns off because it's not detecting any talking. All right, now there's a bunch of things I would fix with this, but there's no time. So what I'm going to dive into now is rendering. Okay, so first thing, this ceiling is obviously there shouldn't be a hole in the ceiling here. The reason for that is that I think this needs to be a two-sided material. No? You know what? We are just going to grab a object. So we're going to go into the library and we are going to grab a object, a primitive, and a plane. And we are going to just put this plane up here. And we are going to just scale it like that. And like that. There we go. Now we have a ceiling. All right, guys. Now we need to talk about lighting. That is the last aspect of this that will take it from good to awesome. And we're going to focus on this kitchen area here. All right. So at this point, we want to just generate the views that we want to use before we deal with the lighting. So we're going to go down the bottom to media, and we're going to create a view. And we're going to now determine the view that we want. So let's say we want to work on a view like this. Let's go. So I'm going to click the little update button. I'm going to go into properties for this, and I'm going to change the resolution to 2000 by 2000 because the image is more longer, I think, because the kitchen is not very wide. So I'm changing that. This table is in the way a little bit. Do I want it to be in the way? I don't know. So I want a view like that. I think I want to hide this table for this view. So I'm going to click on these two chairs and I'll go to scene and I will hide them and update that. All right. Let's go back to the properties and we're going to go into camera and we're going to change the camera to parallelism so that way the walls are straight. Let's also change the focal length to be like 30. There we go. I guess I could leave this table here in the foreground. All right. So this is the view that I want to detail now. All right, guys. That's the view that I want to detail. Now, I mean, this looks pretty good so far, but now we need to set up the lighting. And we're going to be using the path tracer to do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to exit from media mode. So now I'm back in the regular mode. And we're going to add some lights and some backgrounds. So what we're going to do is, actually, I think we should have added them before. Anyway, all right, it's no worries. Let's go back into media mode here. And we're going to add some lights and backgrounds. So first thing we're going to do is go to environment, go to HDR. We need to go to renderer. We're going to change it from lumen to path tracer. So now is when our computer will start to cry. I'm going to put it to low. All right. So it's going to look a little horrible in low, but that's okay. Wow, it's now 8 o'clock. All right, so we're going to go to environment. Well, let's go to camera first. And we're going to disable auto exposure. And we're going to set the auto exposure to like 1. That's fine. The auto exposure is what changes the exposure when you move around, which is a little annoying. So you want to keep that steady. Okay. Now we're going to go to environment. And we're going to go to HDR to add a background. We're going to enable HDR. And we're going to wait for this. Now would be a good time to save. All right, and everything goes black, which is good. So we're going to save this now. Now what the HDR does is that it adds a sky to outside, which will help to illuminate the place. So we're going to choose the type of sky. So let's go to library. Sorry, we're going to choose backdrop, not sky. we would use Sky Dome if you're doing like a large open area. But if you're doing an interior, the HDR backdrop is definitely better because you can see like an outside, which is what you want. I think this is fine actually, so I'm not even going to change this. All right, so we can increase the intensity. So you can see outside even more. We can also change the height offset. We can change the projection offset as well. So that it kind of looks like we're looking outside. All right. So this is good. So we can add some more intensity. So let's put it at 30. All right. So now we're only getting light from outside, but we're getting very realistic light. Now we have no light inside, so we need to add that definitely. All right. Now the next thing we need to do is in order to do this, well, remember you also need to always update this because when we make these changes, if you don't click update, you're going to lose them. All right. Now to do this next part, we're going to turn off the path tracing because it's going to slow our computer down a whole lot. And now what we're going to do, crap, we can't see anything. Okay, let's just switch over to okay, let's get some more light and then we continue because to make life a little easier. So let's go back to let's turn off path tracing. And let's go to camera, and let's turn up our exposure some more. Let's put that about 10. And let's reload that. All right, good. All right, so we're moving around now. Now what we need to do, we need to add some, we call them light portals. And this is a trick that we use in rendering so that we can let the light look a little bit more natural. So we go to lights and we're going to choose area lights. Now you have to turn off path tracing to do this. And let me go to properties, change the width so you can see what we're doing. Right, so this is the light. Let me carry it inside so you can see it. So this is the light, obviously. You can see it illuminating the place. Let's turn down the intensity some more. Right, so this is this square orange thing is the light. So we're gonna rotate it 90 degrees. We're gonna put it outside the window. And what this is going to do, this is going to simulate daylight coming into the windows, which is pretty cool. We can actually go out here so you can see this a little bigger. Right, so we're putting these lights outside the window like that. And we're going to put it outside the windows that matter. So I'm going to hold shift to copy it here. I'm going to create an instance, rotate it 90 degrees. I'll put it here. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's bigger than the window. And I'll copy it here. So again, so basically what this is doing, it is like shooting light rays directly through the window. It's a little bit of a fake light because what it's doing is you're pushing additional light through the windows, but it will let the render look much nicer. Let's do, as a matter, let's leave it. All right, so let's go back to our view. Let's go back to path trace. All right, and let's definitely turn this back down. This is the exposure. And now what we're going to do is those lights that we had earlier, we're going to turn them up. So let's turn up the intensity. And let's make it a little bit blue because it's light coming from outside. So now what's happening is that this light that you're seeing is light that's, this is the fake light that we put at the window and it's shooting light inside, right? Which is pretty cool because you can see it illuminates the place a little nicer. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this down. There we go. So that's looking nicer. And the last thing we're going to do now is add some sunlight. So in order to see the sunlight, I'm going to turn off these fake lights. When I turn them off, notice how the place get dark because we no longer have those fake lights coming in. This is just the light from outside from this environment. Now I'm going to go to, remember, I always update this. Okay. So now I'm going to go to environment and I'm going to go to sun because no, there's no sun. Sun is at 0. So I'm going to turn up the sun, literally. Let's put it at like about, I guess 300, I guess. I don't know. And now we're going to, we need to check this option here to match HDR to sun, because what this is doing is it's locking the direction of the sun to the background. So we want to turn this off because we want to control the direction of the sun. So now, there we go. So we can have that sunlight come in and just like that. And then we can control how bright that is. So we could make that 500. We could also increase the sun size, which would make the sun blurry. We could increase the ambient light to like 4. All right. And remember, we still have the fake lights that we turned off. So that's why it's looking a little dark. We could also increase the light from out the environment light, but if we increase it more, it's going to get too bright. So for example, if I increase it to like 100, you see outside becomes blown out, like it's a little, I don't know. I guess this is okay. Maybe it's a little too bright. This is what, 100? Maybe 80. All right. And now, well, let's update this view here. Now, to fill out the other lights, we're going to go back and turn on our fake lights. There it is. And, well, let's turn them. There's our fake lights. Let's turn it down a little, like 200. There we go. So now we're starting to look a little more real. And then let's save this. Trust me, guys, lighting, you could spend like the entire day in lighting, and we're already gone over by almost 15 minutes. The last thing we're going to do is I'm going to come out of media mode. I want to add, remember we wanted to add a light in here. So we're going to do just that. But the type of light we want to add in here is not one of these lights here. Or do we? No, we're not going to add that light here. We're going to do a little trick. We're going to go to Object, Primitives, and we're going to add another plane. There we go. So we're going to put this plane up here. And we're going to scale it. Then what we're going to do, we're going to go to materials and we are going to add a neon material, like one of these. And what that does, it makes this glow. But is it glowing? I think it is. Let's turn off path tracing. Turn it off. Okay. Right. So this neon material here, if I click it, we can set the glow intensity. So let's go back to our view now. Whoa, that's pretty bright. So yeah, this is kind of bright. So we want to turn that glow intensity down. I need to click on the material because this light is actually a material. So let's put it at 500, 200. Yeah, so just so you can see a slight glow up there. All right, lovely. So now that we kind of have the scene balanced, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go into media here. And we're going to go to camera and we're going to just turn up the exposure until we have it at the brightness that we want. So this is at brightness 2. So we're going to put it at 4, maybe 3.5. There we go. And let's save this view. And now we are going to, we could turn up the path tracing to medium, which is going to take a longer time to render. And it's going to really slow down. Hopefully the computer won't crash because I'm on Zoom, so I'm safe again. All right, great. So now I am going to, what time is it now? We're 15 minutes over. So this is what it looks like. So it's really looking very realistic now because we've added in those lights. I think the last thing to make this scene really sell would be to add some decoration. So for example, going into objects, home, kitchen, accessories, and add some of these, some plates, perhaps. Oh, you have to download these plates. Yeah, I would add some plates. Oh, well, these plates are a little big. Maybe these. Like the picture that we had. Maybe add some cups. Maybe duplicate this. And all of these interesting objects. On the table, we could add one of these guys here. And it's so easy to just drag it. We could even replace this with a decent sink, but I think we'd have to hide the entire sink. This is on the kitchen. So of course you could go under food and you could add a plate with some food. Appliance, we could add like one of these flower things here. Coffee maker, things like that. Just things that will help to put this up here. And you could add things like plants. You get the idea, right, guys? Anybody still there? Are we all gone?
Yes, sir. We get the idea.
No, sir, still here.
Right. I mean, there are tons. We didn't talk about how to do the window treatment. Maybe we can touch that if we have any time later on, but I think we're going to have to move on to other topics. So you have to just, I don't know, watch this recording and try and add to it, right? But this is what we have, guys, which I think is pretty decent. And if you, there we go. There is so much more things we could add to this, some pots and more detailed things here. But the gist is that we used this workflow here, here, where we took the model from Revit, we took some assets from SketchUp, and we put everything in Twinmotion. And Twinmotion is where the magic happens, where we can add the lights to the scene and make it really come alive. So your interior views, this is how you would set them up. And in our next lesson, we can talk about the 3D floor plans and how you would set those up. All right, guys? Well, it's 20 minutes over. I promised that it would be quicker, and now it's actually later. Anyway, guys, that is our class for today. I don't know, hopefully you guys learned a lot. I would upload this video so that you will be able to watch it and kind of go through how we set up the lighting. But if you follow those steps, you can have some really good looking images like what we have here. All right, Daniel. Is Daniel
Yeah.
there?
Yes, I'm listening.
All right. Okay, guys. So this is where I say goodbye and good night. I will see you again on Monday, and we will probably, I will see if we can do the 3D floor plan version of this, because you need to do a 3D floor plan for your studio assignment. And then we'll take it from there. All right, guys. So good night and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes, sir, you too.
All right, cool. Take it easy.
sir. Same to you.
All right, cool. Take it easy.
Sir, when I have to submit this?
No, this is not something you have to submit. This was just a demonstration of how you do renderings, how you do photorealistic renderings, at least in Twinmotion.
Okay. All right, sir. Thank you.
But you do have to follow this method to do your studio-based assignment and whatever renderings you choose to do in the future.
I mean, for student-based assignment, we would have to use Twinmotion, right, sir?
You don't have to. You can use any program you want.
Okay.
But
All right, sir.
the principles are the same. You would carry in the plan and carry in assets from the other program. You'd put them together. The buttons would be different though. For that.
Okay. All right, sir. No problem.
All right. Take it easy.